What do you at, everybody? My name is Lucas, and in this video I'm going to show you how I built my new compost bin. For my compost bin, I had no clue what I was doing. I really didn't have much of a plan other than I had a bunch of pallets and some scrap wood, and I was going to throw it all together and hope for the best. Alright, so to be honest, when I started this project, I did not have the pallets. So I got a little bit impatient and I decided I was going to take the scrap wood that I had and build a frame for when the pallets arrived. This could have been a little bit of a disaster because I was kind of just guesstimating what I was going to need for the frame. But I thought, what the hell, what's the worst that could happen? So I wanted the compost bin to be super sturdy. So my plan was to drive large stakes into the ground and then screw everything to those stakes. I used some 2x4 and I cut each one of them approximately, I think it was 4 feet. Yeah, they were about 4 feet long. So I cut 6 of these stakes. And I had a 2x6 for the front, a 2x6 for the back. Both of these were approximately 8 feet. And then 2x8s, which were about 3 foot for the sides. Now these were just scrap wood that I had left over from another project. Now I definitely should have waited to get the pallets before I started making the frame. But I wanted to have this frame ready for the pallets when they showed up. One, because I was kind of impatient and I just wanted to get the project going. And two, I wanted to put a frame down like this so that the pallets weren't sitting right on the ground, which would give me a little bit more height to put more compost in. And I figured it would make the compost bin more sturdy and give me more things to screw the pallets to. So here I am just laying everything out, kind of just sizing up, seeing what I want to do. As I said, I didn't really have a plan for this, so I'm kind of just winging it as I go. I did have a loose idea of what I wanted to do, but now it's really starting to come together. I'm sure this is going to go perfectly well without any issues whatsoever. And yes, when I was building this compost bin, even though it was well into May, we still had snow. So 6 2x4s, 1 on each corner and 2 in the middle. Once I drove these into the ground, they were all sticking up about 3 feet. The one in the front is definitely much shorter than all the rest of them, but I'm sure that won't matter at all and it'll be fine. Alright, so I'm screwing everything together with some pretty big wood screws. I think they're probably like 4 inches maybe. A lot of times for projects like this, I like to use nails instead of screws, especially with the snowfalls that we get around here. This winter was crazy, and the fence that I had around my small vegetable garden last year, I used screws for that. And the weight of the snow was so heavy on the fence that it actually sheared off a lot of the screws. I took the fence apart a couple of days ago, and I would say probably half of the screws were broken off. So I'm definitely taking my chances here using screws instead of nails. I'm hoping that my compost bin doesn't have that issue with the snow because it's laying directly on the ground. Am I right about this? I guess I'll find out. Here we are the next day. The pallets have showed up and somehow the pallets actually fit on the frame. Don't ask me how this happened, but I'm glad I lucked out. If you're going to make a similar build, I highly recommend knowing the dimensions of the pallets before you actually build your frame.
Take that.
Try not to be too jealous of my skills here, guys. Master craftsman at work here. When the pallets are laid down on their side, they're 4 feet. So 2 on the back is perfect. And when they're on their end, they're 3 feet. So they actually perfectly fit each side as well.
Malibu.
The side pallets sticking up further than the ones that are on the back was really starting to bug me. So here's pretty much the finished product. There's some cool things that I did that I really like, and I'm really happy with how this turned out, especially since I didn't have that much of a plan going into it. Everything pretty much just came together as I was building it, and this video is a very good example of if I can do this, pretty much anybody can do it. I particularly like how I made it so that the board slots in the middle, so you can individually slot in and out the boards, which makes it really good for putting in wheelbarrow loads of compost. Makes it quite convenient. Very good idea I had there, if I do say so myself. Super happy how this project turned out, but actually the chicken manure that I had from 8 chickens completely filled up the left-hand side of this, and later on this summer I'm gonna get 40 more chickens, so I might need to build a couple more of these. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay where you're at, and I'll come where you're too. Later, everybody.